Hello everyone. In this video, going to share about arrays in Java. In Java, an array is a collection of same type of elements. That is, arrays contain elements of similar data type. It is a data structure that is used to store similar elements. Dynamic allocation is done for array. We will discuss about this later in detail during memory management related topics. For now, simply remember resources are allocated dynamically. The elements in the array may be stored on consecutive memory locations, but not a must. The elements in the array are ordered and the index begins from 0. So the first element of the array is stored at the 0th index, second element is stored on first index, and so on. Arrays can be used as a global or a local variable. Array can be of primitive data types or non-primitive data types. Java Array inherits the object class and implements the serializable as well as clonable interfaces. There are many built-in methods available in Java for various purposes like copying or determining the size, etc. General declaration syntax of array: type, name, square bracket, semicolon, or type, square bracket, name. You might have noticed these different types of declaration on our examples with main methods string array parameter. Examples: after declaration, to instantiate an array, the syntax is type name square bracket equal to new type square bracket open size square bracket close, or name square brackets equal to new type square bracket open size square bracket close. Examples: in certain cases where the size of the array and variables of the array are already known, array literals can be used. So, example for declaring array literals: the length of this array is determined by the number of elements. In latest versions of Java, no need to write new int of square bracket part. Each element in the array is accessed through its index. So, the index begins at 0 and ends at array size -1. If you already know the index of the element in an array, you can directly access. All the elements of an array can be accessed using Java for loop. You can use traditional for loop or use for each loop to access elements of an array. Examples. Now, the important question would arise: what will happen if it tries to access elements outside the array size? JVM would throw array index out of bound exception to indicate that array has been accessed with an illegal index. Types of array. In general, there are two types of arrays in Java: one-dimensional arrays and multi-dimensional arrays. All the example we had seen so far are for one-dimensional array. Multi-dimensional arrays are arrays of arrays with each element of the array holding the reference of other arrays. General syntax: type two square brackets name or type name two square brackets. You can have any number of square brackets indicating the number of dimensions. Examples: you need to use multiple nested for loops to access multidimensional arrays. Advantages: code optimization. It makes the code optimized. We can retrieve or sort the data efficiently. Random access. We can get any data located at an index position. Disadvantages: size limit. We can store only the fixed size of elements in the array. It does not grow its size at runtime. Let's look at some examples to understand arrays in detail. Had created a class demo array. Inside the class had defined main method, declaring array of integers, int square brackets numbers, then allocating memory for 4 integers. So this array can hold 4 elements. Initializing elements of the array. There are multiple ways to initialize the elements of the array. This is one of the methods. Accessing an element with specific index. So here accessing the element at index 1, which is the second element. So here 10 should be printed. Accessing all the elements of the array with the traditional for loop. Int I equal to 0, I less than numbers dot length, I plus plus. Simply printing each element in the array with the index value. Then accessing all the elements of the array with the for each loop. Simply for int number colon numbers and then printing the values. Let's debug and check the execution flow. The output is printed as expected. Now, within the for loop, I would prefer not define numbers.length because each time it is going to evaluate the numbers.length value. What I would preferably do is declare a variable and assign the array's length to it. We will get the same output on the execution. Finally, we discussed about array index out of bound exception. Let's see, if we try to access an index that is not available, then we will get the array index out of bound exception. Here, till numbers of 3 is available, numbers of 4 is not available, hence we will get array index out of bound exception. That is also the reason we are defining the for loop with I less than length value. Let's execute and see whether the exception occurs. As you can see, array index out of bound exception has occurred. Now, unless you want to know the index value in the array, I would recommend to avoid using traditional for loops and go for each loops. This would be safer and probably for a better performance as well. Moving on, let's look at some examples for array literals. Demo array literals class, main method. Here as you can see, in the first literal declaration, I haven't specified new of int. This would work only with the latest versions of Java. In case you are using an older version, literals has to be declared like this. As I have already mentioned, the size of the literal will be the number of elements in the array. So this will be of size 4, this will be of size 8, and this will be of size 3. So 4, 8 and 3 will be printed. I'm simply accessing each of the elements through for each loop. Let's execute and check the output. The output is printed as expected. Finally, moving on to the multidimensional array example. Define the class demo multidimensional array main method int two square brackets. The first square bracket indicate row and the second square bracket indicate column. So here I have defined 3 cross 3. So 3 rows and 3 columns. I'm initializing value for elements at each position. So 0th row, 0th column is 1, 0th row, column 2 is 2, like this. After declaring it, then using nested for loops to print the values. The first sysout will print the element, and this is for the next row. So this will print the column elements and this will jump to the next row. We can initialize the multidimensional array elements through literals as well, like this. Then once again using nested for loops, we can access the elements. Let's execute and check the output. The output is printed as expected. We predominantly use normal arrays and array literals. The usage of multidimensional array is very minimum and most probably we will use at the max two-dimensional arrays. The arrays are important part and it will be used on most of the cases, be it with any of the primitive, non-primitive or even sometimes with user-defined object. Make sure to practice especially accessing the arrays either directly through the index value or through the for or for each loops. Thank you.